Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the next part of my collection. The last episode we left off, I think, with Black Sabbath. So I've got a couple more now to show you that run from B into the start of C. There's a couple more records than last time, so it may be a bit of a longer video, but I'll just get straight into it. Let me bring them over here. So I've shown these before in the heavy metal video, so I'll just show them quickly. These are two Blood Incantation albums. As you can see, we've got Interdimensional Extinction, and Starspawn. They are both, I mean, if you can't tell by the logo and the covers what this sounds like, then it probably isn't for you. But yeah, they're both on pressed on black vinyl, just single disc, and there's no gatefolds or anything. And I've shown them before in the other video, as I said. So these ones I haven't. So this is a band that are relatively new. I think their first album was 2016. So I listened to it, started listening to them maybe the year after that when I was 17 years old. And this is a band called Blossoms. This is their debut album here, just self-titled. And that's the back of it there. It's just pressed on black vinyl, but it has this wee booklet here with the lyrics and photos of them and things like that. If you don't know who Blossoms are, they're not, you know, an incredible groundbreaking band. They just play sort of indie pop music, but it's you know, they bring in elements of like disco, like 70s disco, like Bee Gees, that sort of thing. The lead singer, I think, really wishes he was in the Bee Gees, especially their later stuff. So I think they've had 3 or 4 albums out now, and it's just getting a bit more disco-y each time. So that's the debut, and then I also have the follow-up to that, their second album, Cool Like You. This is again a bit more disco-y and things like that, starting to get into that groove. They played Glastonbury this year and brought out Mel C, I think, to sing Spice Up Your Life, which was pretty cool. But yeah, just sort of indie pop, and you know, nothing groundbreaking, not reinventing the wheel or anything, but some great songs. Charlemagne is probably their biggest song, and then Honey Sweet and things like that. But they do have them some sort of catchy songs, sort of synths and that's pop drums and things like that. So if you're into that, then maybe check them out. Yeah, Blossoms. Then, as I mentioned in the previous video, and this is going to sound like an excuse, but in the previous video I mentioned that my boss gave me a load of records when I used to, in my old job, and she gave me all her old stuff. So in that was stuff ranging from Aerosmith to, you know, Def Leppard to Anthrax, and then a lot of it is hair rock, hair metal, whatever you would call it. And then there's sort of things in between, and so I have 3 Bon Jovi albums. So I have Blaze of Glory, the soundtrack for that. The soundtrack for Young Guns 2, and it's called Blaze of Glory. I'm assuming, yes, it has Blaze of Glory on it. This is a sort of UK press from the 1990. I'm assuming that's when the movie came out. Don't know too much about the movie, but yeah, soundtrack to Young Guns 2. Then I've got New Jersey. Again, the UK press of this from 1988. You know, as much as I'd like to say that I don't know any Bon Jovi, I actually know quite a lot of Bon Jovi songs because of my mum. So, you know, I actually do know a lot of these tracks, but I don't listen to them. Not my type of thing. I also have this album here, Keep the Faith. You know, the album with Bed of Roses and Dry County. Dry County is actually, you know, that's not a bad song at all. So yeah, a couple of Bon Jovi albums from my boss. And then we're getting into the stuff that the stuff that I love, you know, the stuff that I'm buying myself, and you know, I've built up the collection over time. And this is, I've got a few records by David Bowie. So we'll start off here with Bowie, with the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. This is one of the Parlophone represses. So originally came out in 1972. I don't really know what this remaster, 2012 apparently this was remastered. So not an original, but it is pressed in the same style, I believe, with these labels. What can I say about this album? This album's I mean, it's one of the greatest, isn't it? Undeniably. There's just such a amazing mix of different volumes, different emotions as well. You know, it starts off with 5 years, which is written so brilliantly. As all of you will know, David Bowie was pretty much a genius, especially with the stuff around this era, and the way he was able to write lyrics, write songs, write stories in a way that I don't think I've really seen matched. His ability to do both the rock and roll stuff and then go into the ballad stuff, and it just be like seamless. Everyone's heard this album. If you haven't, for some reason, you need to go and check it out. Some of my favourites off this, Suffragette City is a great song. Rock and Roll, It Ain't Easy is amazing. Moonage Daydream is brilliant. And then you've got the hits, obviously you've got Starman, you've got Ziggy Stardust. And then everything, Lady Stardust is great, you know. There's loads of songs on this that aren't the hits but are still brilliant. Obviously you get David Bowie on guitar, saxophone and the vocals. So just brilliant, just brilliant. So Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Everyone knows this album in some form or another. So that's Bowie. Then I have David Bowie's Aladdin Sane. Again, another Parlophone reissue, repress, remaster, whatever it's called. I'm not sure if this is true to the original, but this is the front cover here, and then if you open it up, it does the vertical thing here with a very odd sort of nauseating image of David Bowie. Yeah, strange. Another absolutely excellent album, obviously during the Ziggy era. I don't want to make a clown of myself, but I think this was the last one before he changed, before he gave up and was Thin White Duke or whatever it is after it. But anyway, this is pressed on this greyish silver vinyl. Another absolutely brilliant album, probably on par with Ziggy Stardust for me. Some of the songs in this are absolutely brilliant. Sort of an album to me that sounds like it could be the soundtrack to a movie in New York that's about, you know, nightclubs and things like that. You know, it's just that feeling. Obviously some of the biggest songs, the Gene Genie, massive. Aladdin Sane's a big song by him, Watch That Man. Panic in Detroit, Drive-In Saturday. Brilliant album. Everyone will know this one as well as Ziggy, so I don't have to go too much into it. But this one and Ziggy are probably the two ones that I listen to the most. Not necessarily my favourite Bowie, but 100% the most accessible David Bowie records there are is sort of the Ziggy era. I think that would be fair to say. I'm also considering listening to each David Bowie album chronologically and ranking them or rating them, giving them a score, because there's a lot of Bowie that I've missed because there's so many manifestations of Bowie that from, you know, Thin White Duke era to Ziggy to whatever was in the 90s and the 2000s, and he seems to be an artist that even, you know, when his last album Black Star came out just before he died, the songs on that were fucking great, like Lazarus and stuff. So I imagine he has a lot of albums that aren't very good, but I want to find out what my favourite Bowie is. Then I have a couple of sort of odds and ends by Bowie. This is the Ziggy Stardust motion picture from 1983. I think it is just a live album. I don't know if it has anything to do with a movie or anything like that, but he covers White Light, White Heat in this. It's a good cover. And yeah, just a sort of, at the time for 83, the set list here, or the track list, is certainly a sort of greatest hits of Bowie at that point. And yeah, just a great record to own. Then I have two of the compilations. I have Changes 1 Bowie, or Changes Bowie 1, or whatever the fuck it's called. This is a original UK again. He's at the track listing at the back, so just a greatest hits of Bowie at the time. And then I also have Changes 2 Bowie, which again is another compilation album. So as much as I like listening to full studio albums, having compilations like that are great to just throw on if you want to, you know, just listen to the Bowie without having to put the effort in to listen to the deep cuts and things. So yeah, David Bowie, I have a very small, as you can tell, I have 2 studio albums, so that's nothing. There's so many I need to get. Problem is with Bowie is his records get repressed and they get sold at like 40 quid, £40. So it's all, I can't justify paying that much for that many records, but there will be ones I need to get. I need to get Space Oddity, I need to get Man Who Sold the World, Lodger, you know, Pin-Ups, all of this stuff. So I'm just going to keep looking and build up that massive collection of David Bowie. Then, as I've shown before, I have 2 Burzum records. One of them more atmospheric black metal, and one of them more just raw black metal. If you know them, you know them. I showed them in the heavy metal stuff. Not a band for everyone. Not a fan of the artist himself. I got these when I was a bit younger. I'm not going to pretend that I don't still like it, but you know, Fard Vikernes is a cunt. So yeah. Anyway, so they 2. And then this is another band, another couple of albums by that my boss gave me that I haven't explored too much, but from what I've heard, it's okay. It's sort of, you know, sort of 80s rock. And this is, I hope I'm right in saying 80s. Never mind, 1991. This is Bullet Boys with Freak Show. I'm not, as I said before in a previous video, I'm not exactly amazing at identifying genres, but to me they're just rock music. The guy's got a sort of I guess Axl Rose-esque voice. I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting it wrong, but remembering it wrong, sorry. But this is the self-titled as well, so I have Bullet Boys here. They're both original UKs, but I think I'm assuming they're an American band. But from what I remember, yeah, it's sort of, I mean, even the way they're dressed and things, I think it's sort of teetering on the edge of that Guns N' Roses hair metal, rock ballad type music. So yeah, that's 2 more. And then I have 2 other compilation albums by an artist, a country and western artist, or what's the outlaw, is it outlaw music they call it, I think. I've got 2 Johnny Cash albums here. So I have Johnny Cash live at Folsom Prison, which is one of the, you know, one of the most famous, popular, standout live albums of all time by any artist. So this is quite a big record here. As you can see, it's got a photo of them in the prison from the gig, and it's double disc, just on black vinyl. This again, the album, a lot of the albums I've shown today are so essential, so ubiquitous that, you know, you already know who Johnny Cash is and you know what Folsom Prison is. So yeah, just a classic, a must have, and I listen to this fairly frequently because it's his voice for me is just fucking brilliant. He's sort of almost, he's monotone, sort of crooning almost. I just love it. I think it's brilliant. Although I hate the song Hurt. I don't like Hurt at all. That's the only one, but great album, great live album. It's sort of a must have for me because yeah, he's just brilliant. My favourite song, I don't even know if it's on this. Obviously you got Folsom Prison Blues, Cocaine Blues, which is great. But one of my favourite ones was shit, what was that called? Thing Called Love, 6'6", he stood in the ground and all that, brilliant. Boy Named Sue is brilliant as well. And then I have a sort of greatest hits legend of Johnny Cash, which is a 2-disc sort of compilation with all of the great hits there. So yeah, that's the extent of my Johnny Cash collection. And we've got a couple more here. We've got Cannibal Corpse. I've shown these before. I've shown this one before, Tomb of the Mutilated. And then I have their latest album, Violence Unimagined. I think this is actually, hold on. This is pressed on a special coloured vinyl. I can't remember what the colour's called, but sort of greenish with splashes of blue or whatever that is. Cannibal Corpse again. Cannibal Corpse are the type of band where if you know them, then you know what they sound like. It's not like there's much variation in a genre like death metal, so this pretty much sounds like all the other stuff. I don't know if that'll trigger some people, but to me that's the case. Then I've got an album by a band from Glasgow, specifically from Govan. This is a Catholic Action, in their 2017 album, In Memory Of. So that's the album cover there, quite a cool album cover. This is a band that I'm sort of, familiar with the drummer and his family. So when this came out, I was already a fan of it. So this is, to describe this, they're a band that actually aren't together anymore. They brought out 2 albums. I don't have the second album, but they released 2 albums and then sort of split up. To describe this, it's sort of, it's basically indie pop again. A lot of sort of hints of Blur and things like that, sort of Britpoppy almost sometimes. But a really enjoyable album. If you go and listen to them, I'd say, off this album, I like Black and White, Breakfast is great, The Shallows, Doing Well, some great songs on this. Sort of just fun indie pop, nothing too serious. Doesn't take itself too seriously, it isn't pretentious, it's just some great tracks, Then we have 2 albums by a band that I also believe aren't together anymore, but it hasn't been announced yet, but it seems like that. And this is Catfish and the Bottlemen, and this is their first album, The Balcony. And I've also got The Ride here. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, and this is a poster from when I went to see them in 2018. Catfish and the Bottlemen are, again, indie rock, indie pop, whatever you want to call it. Nothing too serious, nothing deep, nothing profound. Just some songs that sound nice. Basically, that's about it. They don't rank high in my estimations, but they're not bad. And I know a lot of their songs because I used to really like them. So yeah, if you're into that sort of British modern indie thing, then check them out. They were quite a popular band at the time. They were selling out big arenas after their first album and things, but it seems that they've disbanded since and just haven't announced it or something like that. I saw some rumours about that. They have not released anything in quite a while. They do have a third album which I don't own. I'm in no rush to really buy it because they brought out 3 albums, but all 3 of them are the same. You could interchange each song on each album and it would be the exact same, so not much variation. And then I have the 2 records which I showed before in my heavy metal video, so I won't be talking too much about them, but I've got Cattle Decapitation with To Serve Man, and then I've got the Harvest Floor, both the limited presses of this of each album, limited to 200 on each of them. Then an absolutely brilliant album, which I thought I would never get, because the way that selling vinyl works now is if you go on the internet it'll be 300 quid, but if you go in a store it'll be 30, because people are scum. But I managed to find this in a record shop in Glasgow. I absolutely adore this album. I think I think I would make a separate video about this, but this is I Love Supreme by John Coltrane. This is a repress here, not an original or anything, because I think originals go for ridiculous amounts. But yeah, John Coltrane, wow, what can I say about this? This is sort of gatefold here. He was a very religious man, John Coltrane. So this album in particular, I think the songs are called, even the song titles are sort of religious themed. So you've got like Acknowledgement, Resolution, then Pursuance and Psalm. But it's a strange colour of disc. I'm not really into it. It's kind of shit, but fucking brilliant album. I mean, this is probably the first jazz that I'd ever listened to. It's very entry level, I understand that. It's like me bringing out Miles Davis, Some Kind of Blue or whatever it's called. But this is like, from what I've the little that I've learned is this is a bit more like I don't want to say experimental, but you know what I mean. It's like, I think compared to Davis and other stuff, John Coltrane was a bit more left of field, but I have no idea. So, but what I do know about this is I love this album. It's the second song, when the first song ends, the Love Supreme dum 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 dum, and then there's a pause in between the record, and then it bursts into that, Resolution, where it just bursts into the all the instruments at once. It just sounds fucking brilliant, man. Like production level, it just all sounds so good, and it's one of them that you can lie back and just let it consume you. I often find that when I listen to it, I'm not distracted. I just sit there and I just experience it, which is, just a fucking brilliant album. John Coltrane's I Love Supreme. I do need to get a lot more by many more jazz artists, but this was a start for me. I thought this was a record I would never find, and so I'm really, really glad that I did find it. So yeah, I Love Supreme. Then I have last few. I have one of the essentials, I guess, London Calling by The Clash. And this is another sort of remake, reissue from Sony Music, 2013, originally 1979, this album. Classic album, sort of essential as well if you're into that kind of thing. I would never ever call The Clash punk. I don't see why they were called punk. It seems like they were in a sort of Anthrax situation, but I'm not entirely sure. To me, it's just good rock and roll. That's what it sounds like to me. London Calling, maybe it is punk. Maybe I don't know what punk means, but you know, if you were to compare them to a lot of the essential punk bands, they don't sound like it at all. But nonetheless, an absolutely great album. Check it out if you haven't. The Clash. they have some other great albums. Sandinistas is good, and I can't remember the other name, so it can't be that good. But London Calling. Then I have a couple of albums again by The Boss that I used to have. Crimson Glory with Strange and Beautiful. And again, a lot of these albums are just sort of, she seemed to be into singers that can sing high and are sort of pretty looking, as you can see. You know, they all look very serious and can't button their shirts up. But this is from 1991, released on Atlantic Records. Yeah, just another sort of rock album. Good, decent, well, nothing else to be said. Then I've got The Cult with Ceremony. That's the back there. Again, you can, I mean, you can tell by the photos what they're going to sound like. Just sort of American, I Love Her, and we were driving down the highway, sort of music, you know. Her hair was blonde and flowing, that sort of shit. Nothing amazing, but nothing bad. It's good. You know, if you go back and listen to it every now and again, it does the job. Again, nothing amazing. Right, I need to get these ones quickly because it's dragging on. This album I own purely because of American Psycho. So I have No Jacket Required by Phil Collins. If you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly why I have this. That is literally the only reason. I do like Suicidio actually. I have to say I do like that song, but I'm not a Phil Collins fan. But yeah, American Psycho. That's why I have it. And then I have a couple of albums by The Cure. So this is The Cure with Three Imaginary Boys, their first album. Not amazing. There's a couple of songs on it, but it's very short. The songs are always very short. They always cut short and don't really lead into anything. But certainly the foundations of what The Cure would become. You can see all the little nuances in Robert Smith's voice and the way that they structure songs and things. It's you can see the beginnings of what The Cure would become. I've also got The Head on the Door, which came a bit later, and is, I would say, probably one of the albums that would define, if you were to explain to someone what The Cure sounded like. I think this album and a handful of others, maybe Disintegration, things like that, would be a great example of what The Cure sounded like at their most Curey, if that makes sense. Obviously this has In Between Days on it, but you've got other good songs. Baby Screams, Close to Me, A Night Like This, Kyoto Song, things like that. The Cure for me are a band that I haven't delved into massively, but the stuff that I have heard I do enjoy. So you know, I'll probably get more records by them as time moves on. I also have their Standing on a Beach, the singles, so a sort of compilation album of their singles. I don't know the years, but it's a gatefold with all the singles there, but it's got songs like Boys Don't Cry, Love Cats, Caterpillar, Close to Me, In Between Days, A Forest, The Hanging Garden. You know, all of the singles they released from, you know, I don't know the dates, so over a few albums. So yeah, Standing on a Beach. Then to finish it off, we have a record that I think this band is from Scotland, from Glasgow, so they might come and stab me, but I got this album because, first of all, it looked like it would be decent. This is called The Daily Hum, and it's called Trypophobia. And actually they might not be from Glasgow. Never mind, they're from a place called Otter Island. So they can't stab me unless they want to get a ferry. Trypophobia, yeah, I thought this would be pretty cool. I listened to it, I think it's literally the first song, and it's just a, you know, it's a regular song, whatever they're playing, whatever, and then it just breaks into a guitar solo, and the guitar solo is note by note the exact same as Comfortably Numb, the sort of small solo in that Gilmore plays. It's note by note. We checked it. I was with my friend at the time, and we checked, and note by note, it was the same. So bit of plagiarism there. I don't think they're a big band. Maybe they are from where they're from, in Otter Island. But I have no idea who they are. But after I heard that in the first song, I was like, nah, it's good. You know, it was unbelievable to me, because the other stuff, it's not like it's a cover. It's not like it's even like sampling it. It's just a normal song, and then it has Comfortably Numb solo, and then it ends, and I couldn't believe it. So yeah. If you want to listen to some blatant plagiarism, listen to Trypophobia by the Daily Hum, and you can hear it too. That ends it. So we're starting on D. A lot of the records I showed off today and in the last episode just so happen to be ones that I don't have much to say about, because I don't listen to them too much. So the ones from my boss and things like that. But as it goes on in the next parts, you know, I have a big Bob Dylan collection, I have a big Smiths, I have a big Joy Division collection, so I can get into it a bit more. There's a lot more albums in the next few parts that I really like, and so I'll be talking about them a bit more in depth. But thank you for watching, and have a great day. See you later.